welcome to Truthzilla. I am Megan, sitting here with my dear friends Scott and Ed. We have a very special guest tonight, Tim James, aka the Health Hero. He is the owner of Chemical Free Body at chemicalfreebody.com. He is a health coach, speaker, author, living food chef, supplement authority, yoga instructor, and host of the Health Hero Show. Hi, Tim. Welcome.
And aspiring guitarist.
Aspiring guitarist, yes. Hi, Tim.
Yeah, I just learning guitar. So, hey guys, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for being
thanks
here.
for coming. This is great. So, we met you on the Union of the Unwanted, and it's been really cool to meet other local podcast people. We met Dean Reiner from the Up is Down podcast. We met Adam from Deborah Gets Red Pilled, and then you reached out to us. You're like, hey, I'm in Oregon too, so let's collaborate. So it's really super exciting. Yeah. And just having looked into your body of work and what you do, which is just so admirable, and I think out of all the times in history, probably more needed than ever. How did you get to be doing what you're doing today?
Well, so I'm just going to talk about my backstory so people know where I came from.
Yeah.
So I grew up over in Eastern Oregon on a small cattle and hay farm, and I hunted and fished a lot. So, we're shooting elk and deer and chukars and pheasants and all that stuff. And I kept about 4 freezers full of meat. And I thought that meat was like a big part of, just building muscle and being a man. And I had a lot of fun doing it. We spent a lot of time in the woods, picking mushrooms, cutting firewood, just going up in the woods and screwing around as kids. And then I played baseball at a high level, so I really enjoyed baseball as well. And then fast forward to age 37, I was 38 pounds overweight. I had eczema on my elbows, my knee, huge patch on my knee. I had another skin issue on my shoulder. It was like these fat things growing. It was weird. I had acid reflux really bad. I was eating Tums and Rolaids all day long. I was not sleeping well. My energy was waning. And every year I was gaining a pound or 2 of weight. And then finally, on a vacation, I had to get an organ removed. So that was really bad. So I ruined my entire vacation down in Peru for everybody. It was a year-long trip. It was thousands of dollars. And I had to be literally where we were at was very remote, and there was only one plane in and out of there, and I just missed it by 45 minutes. So I had to take an emergency, a van came and picked me up, and 6 hours of a bumpy road along the coast there to get to a town called Piora. And there I was in a third world hospital on an examination table with flies buzzing around me. Luckily for me, my wife at the time's dad was a medical doctor, and he was running one of the biggest clinics in Lima. So he did not want me to have me operate there. He wanted to have me operated on his clinic, right? So they doped me up, put me on a plane flight, which you should never do, and flew me into Lima, got in a taxi, and right into surgery. And that ruined our vacation. So that's when I learned that my poor health didn't affect just me. It affected everybody else around me. So I got wheeled back into the States after having that organ removed. And then what happened, I actually got worse. So then I started bleeding rectally when I go to the bathroom. And that went on for 2 years. And I would say on a level of 1 to 10, 1 being not painful and 10 extremely painful, like you want to die, I was probably a 6 to 8 every time I would poop. And it was not fun. And then it would be followed with blood. And it just I buried my head in the sand. I'm like, I hope that doesn't happen again. But going to the bathroom wasn't fun. That's why my shirt says love when you poop, because I used to not like that at all. It was every time I had to go, I'm like, oh God, because you just imagine it's like just cutting yourself with a razor blade every day, So it was just it sucked. So that was going on. And then one of my guys on my baseball team got diagnosed with stomach cancer. And we ended up losing him, 80 pounds under his weight. He looked like somebody from a concentration camp. You couldn't even recognize him. He did chemo and surgery and all that stuff. And that was really hard on us. He left 3 little boys behind, no insurance. We had to do a fundraiser. And then fast forward a few years, my buddy Charles got diagnosed with chronic lymphocytic leukemia at age 43. So now I got another friend. I'm like, I'm going to lose another friend. And now my grandma had died of brain cancer. My aunt had died of skin cancer, melanoma, but they were older. So you expect people to kind of, when they get old, they die of something, right? But these were people that are 40, 43, And at that time, because of those 2 things happening, I started hearing other stories. I was kind of like my radar opened up, and I was hearing or paying attention to people that were those ages also getting cancer, even younger getting cancer and heart attacks. And I was like, well, this is crazy. I'm like, I'm kind of a mess. Maybe this is going to happen to me, But again, in denial. Doctors wanted me to go on Prilosec, put me on these other pills. I'm just like, I didn't want to do it. It just didn't sound right to me. probably good that I didn't, but they didn't give me any other solutions. So Charles says, hey, look, I got cancer. I don't want to die. My son's 14. I want to see him graduate high school. I want to go to father-son weekend, and I want to live. I want to, and so I want to live. So I found this place in Florida called the Hippocrates Health Institute. They're a 60-year-old detox and nutrition clinic, and they're like an educational school on how to eat healthy and live. And I want you to go with me. And I just said, I'm in, whatever you need. I mean, he didn't tell me anything about it. So we booked our plane flight. We flew out January 1st, 2011. And then when we got on the plane, he's like, oh, yeah, by the way, when we get there, there's no meat, no dairy, no salt, no sugar. Nothing's cooked over 115 degrees. And I'm thinking to myself, what am I going to eat? Like, what do you mean there's no meat? I'm like flipping out, like freaked out. But I'm like, okay, your buddy's got cancer. Just, I guess you're going to eat salads for 7 days. I don't know how that's going to work, but I'm freaked out. We used to make fun of vegetarians, back home. That's just vegetarians, right? Mm-hmm. So we go there. Day one, my acid reflux is gone. It's gone. It hasn't returned since. They then I went to this. They just put us on fresh purified waters. These 2 green juices a day, raw living, sprouted food, sprouted nuts, sprouted seeds, sprouted grains, sprouted beans. Everything's alive basically. Avocados, all these things, and it was actually pretty good. But the first class was called Internal Awareness, and this doctor comes out and he's very fit, lots of muscles, and he starts educating us on the time you eat food until the time it goes in your mouth until it exits what happens in the meantime, and then exit your body. And I'm like, wow, how come nobody taught us this? This is really pretty makes sense. And now I kind of get it. And what he explained was, and they actually show pictures of going inside the colon. It'd be like 24-year-old female with Crohn's disease, and you'd see the inside of her colon, what it looks like. And then you'd see, 64-year-old male with irritable bowel syndrome or colon cancer, right? Or 37-year-old female with arteriosclerosis and this problem and Crohn's disease or Hashimoto's or whatever. And then inside of their colons are all just either green or yellow or messed up, or there's parasites crawling around in them. Wow. And I'm just like, oh God. Yeah. And I'm like thinking about and he says, this is the types of foods and the lifestyle that leads to that. And I'm like, oh no. Cause I was the worst culprit at that stuff.
Yeah, totally.
So they were trying to educate us and teach us that we got to clean it out. In fact, he pointed at me, he's like, he goes, Tim, you got 10 pounds of crap in a 5-pound bag. Wow. And if you ever want to have really good health and not have to worry about disease and disorder as you age, you got to keep your colon clean. You got to get that crap out of there, literally. And so he was selling us on doing what was called a colon hydrotherapy session, or colonic. Are you guys familiar with those?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I just listened to your episode last week with, what was it, Rebecca?
Oh, good. Yeah, Rebecca Harder. She's a gastro girl. Yeah. Saving America one colon at a time. Yeah. She's awesome. So, yeah, and if anybody wants to listen in and get deep onto colon hydrotherapy, you can check out my episode on the Health Hero Show. It's episode 38 with Rebecca Harder. So, but anyway, so that's what it is. You set on a tube rectally, and water gently goes in and out of you for an hour, and it cleans your colon. It's no big deal. It's like you're flushing out the transmission fluid, or flushing out the engine, basically, right? And so I didn't want to do it. I remember elbowing Charles and saying, I'm not doing this deal. But afterwards, when that doctor showed me all those pictures of people's intestines and stuff, I'm like, man, I'm going to do it. Yeah. So I signed up. The next day, they weigh me. I do the deal. They weigh me again. I drop 10 pounds.
Yes.
Whoa.
10 pounds of funk and gunk and junk that accumulated in my lifetime. Now, the record at the Institute, I think, was 27 pounds. One lady dropped 27 pounds in 1 hour. Oh, wow. And some people a little bit less, some people more. It just kind of depends, right? But the average is 6 to 12 pounds that the average person's carrying around in the colon, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's got to get cleaned out. So the Royal Society of Medicine said that 85% of disease starts in the colon. And through what I've learned, my own personal experience, and the 600 people I personally coach and the thousands of people that are on our products and stuff, I'm like, yeah, I agree with these people. So we keep doing the lifestyle, but what happens is I went from standard American diet to like eating like a chipmunk. I was like out in the wild, and so I went through like a radical detox. They call it doing surgery without a knife. So I was irritable. I had night sweats. Like my sheets were soaked in the middle. I wake up, it's like I had the flu or something. I changed my diet. It's crazy. I had a metallic taste coming off my tongue as the heavy metals were exiting, what I learned. Let's see what else. I told you I was irritable. I didn't want to talk to anybody. In fact, on Wednesday night, I just wanted to go to bed.
Yeah.
They said by Thursday or Friday, one of those 2 days, you're going to wake up. And I was like, please be Thursday and you're going to feel great. And I did. And we woke up and I felt freaking amazing. Now, I didn't have it as bad as some people. We saw some people going through it. They had rashes breaking out as stuff exits. It's going out.
Yeah,
You're
totally.
either defecating it, you're urinating it, you're perspirating it, you're respirating it breath-wise. So it was just coming out. We saw parasites crawling out of people. I saw a parasite crawl out of a lady's eye. And why is this happening? Because what we're doing here is we're changing the internal environment from the standard American diet is very high acid, low oxygen. Perfect breeding ground for harmful organisms, viruses, bacteria, molds, yeast, fungus, and parasites. And mutagens, cancers love it. They grow and proliferate in those areas. And they put us on a high oxygen, high alkaline diet. So we change the internal terrain, and then not only do we change the internal terrain so these harmful little critters get out of there, but we change how the gene expresses itself. This is called epigenetics. And Dr. Bruce Lipton's been doing this work for 50 years. If you want to follow him, you can learn about epigenetics. So it's like, it's so silly to me. Like they spend billions of dollars taking a human cell or a cell, they expose it to a known carcinogen. They know it's going to cause cancer. It mutates into a cancer cell, and then they study it and they try to figure out some type of a synthetic thing that they can sell you to stop that from happening.
Mm.
I'm thinking, why not just not expose it to the carcinogen?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, you don't keep coming back.
It doesn't take billions of dollars to figure that deal out. And that's what Bruce's whole work was all about, was that. So we learned all this stuff. And that's why the people that work there and have been on this lifestyle for 10, 15 years look 10, 15, 20 years younger than people their age. And they were full of vitality, and their eyes were white, and their skin was glowing, and they looked amazing, and they were fit and healthy. And I'm like, you know what? I want to be like them. I want to be like these people. So I wake up, I feel amazing. Charles and we did the purified water. We did the wheatgrass shot. We did the green juice. We worked out. We did the hot, cold plunge in the pool, the saunas, all the stuff, our morning routine. And we're walking back to our room, our hacienda, which is really cool. And I said, dude, do you feel as good as I do? He's like, yeah, I feel so good. And I'm like, I literally feel like I'm 19 again. I'm like, I literally feel energy like tingling in my arms, like tingling. My brain is clear. And it's like, it's 7:00 at night, and I've been going all day long. I've had 2 coaching appointments with clients. I've had a new client onboarding thing, 4 podcasts. I went shopping. I've done a few things. I trail ran this morning. I feel freaking amazing. I'm 47 years old, and I can guarantee you 10 years ago, I'd be crashed right now. I'd be like, hey, what's up? I couldn't even talk.
Yeah.
Right. So he's like, yeah, man, I feel amazing. I'm like, dude, we have discovered the fountain of youth. This is what everybody is looking for. I am pumped. I'm going to do this whole deal with you. I'm going to go all plant-based. This is the meat eater. This is the guy that was like I'm killing everything. Our motto was, if it flies, it dies. It brown, it's down. Right. So imagine that person. All my buddies thought I was crazy, but I said, I'm going to give up all meat except for bacon. I'm going to keep that one. And we're going to go do this deal. So we went home, and that's where the process started. And I started telling everybody about, you do wheatgrass and all this stuff and juices and sprouts, and you can heal yourself of cancer. And everybody's like, yeah, you're crazy. And I'm like, all right, well, it seems to be working. I interviewed a ton of people there, and they done it, and they weren't bullshitting me. So we created a lifestyle. Nobody's listening to me, but in 60 days, I dropped all the weight. My eczema is gone, so I'm not cracking and bleeding all over my shirts and your couch anymore when I visit your house. That was great. That skin issue on my shoulder is gone. I can feel my ribs again. I look just like now after 60 days. Like, it's all gone. The inflammation's gone. The water retention's gone. I'm feeling good. My brain's lit up. And this is awesome. Like, I'm so excited. Now my friends are like, now, what'd you say? What were you doing? And I'm like, well, so my buddy John comes over, and he's like, now, what were you doing? I tell him the whole spiel. He's like, dude, will you grow these sprouts for me? And I'm like, no, dude, I'm busy. I don't have time to grow it for myself, basically. But I'm just doing it because I committed to Charles, and I'm growing some for him, too, because he's busy. So, and I grew up on a farm growing stuff, so it's no big deal. I was like, I'll just grow it in trays. It's easy. And then I did it finally. Like, all right, I'll grow it for you. He's one of my buddies. The next day, he brings Eric over. He's like, tell Eric your story. So I told Eric my story. Will you grow me the sprouts? And I was like, no, I don't really want to, but okay. And before too long, people just started showing up at my house. People with cancer, one after another. And then finally, I told my wife, we have to have like a class, because we're getting ready to go out for a date on Friday night. And then all of a sudden, somebody shows up with cancer. Okay, date's canceled. I got to help these people. So I sat there for 2 hours helping them and doing all this stuff. And then I start growing sprouts for them. So we started doing classes every Tuesday night, and then every Tuesday and Wednesday. And then I started teaching on the weekends at hospitals and churches, and just telling my story and showing people all this detox nutrition stuff I was learning. Nobody seemed to know about it. I'm like, I didn't know about it. So I thought I'd share it with other people. And I got excited about it. And this went on for 5.5 years. We had close to 5,000 people come to my home. And most of them, I'd probably say 75% of them had cancer. So I got a lot of experience with people with cancer, and it's really a horrible deal. For those that have experienced it. And I don't know anybody who doesn't either have it or know somebody who's had it in their lifetime, a loved one. It's just a really horrible way to go. And it doesn't have to be that way. We know what's causing it now. And we know a lot of things. And I'm not a doctor. I don't claim to cure anything. I can't cure you. But you can heal yourself if you have the proper information. You get these chemical toxins out of the body. You flood your body with nature. And your immune system comes up. And that's the best chance to heal yourself. But you have to have a really good attitude. So my whole garage got retrofitted, and I started growing sprouts for everybody. Everybody in the place thought they called me the grass man or the wheatgrass guy or whatever. Neighbors were teasing me because they thought I had a grow operation for marijuana or whatever. I had to go out tell everybody, like, no, I'm growing sprouts. Come over and look, because I had lights on all the time. Because I didn't want to get turned into the cops because it wasn't legal in Oregon back then. So I didn't want to have to deal with that. So everybody knew that I was growing sprouts and wheatgrass. So that's where the grass man thing came. But anyway, so that went on for a long time. And then my little brother got killed in a mountain biking accident. And that's when I decided that 6 months later, I was like, just frustrated. I'm like, Troy, what do you want me to do? And he said, do what you love and do it now. I heard it clear. And I picked up my phone. I called up Jeff and I said, hey, dude, I'm out. He's like, what are you talking about? I said, I'm getting out of the financial services industry. I'm going to go help people with their health. I'm sorry. Because I was groomed to take over that whole company, and we had 13 employees and all this stuff. And he's like, "How are you gonna make a living?" I'm like, "I don't know, but I'm gonna go. I'm excited to tell people about juicing and sprouts and all this stuff and detoxing, and I'll figure it out." So I bought a dry erase board and I just started coaching people for free. And then, a little bit while later, chemicalfreebody.com was started, and then we just started coaching people. And later we introduced our detox and nutritional line, and we're still growing and doing our thing.
Wow. That's so amazing. What an inspiring story, man. Like, I hear that. I want some of that, man.
Absolutely.
I want to get up there. And you do now, like, do you do a weekly meeting?
Like a educational thing we saw?
I thought I heard you talk
we do.
about
We do private gourmet, like, dinner classes. So,
Sure.
people book. We have to have six to eight people. Usually we do that. We let people fill it up because I don't do the onesie twosies anymore because I'm really busy. But if we'll have like a yoga instructor. She's like, okay, I got a group of 8. We book it. People come over, and then it's done. And then we do it. I used to do private venues where I'd get 10 up to maybe 25 max. I'd have a sous chef come with me. And then I would speak, and then I'd have them make most of the food. I'd have the recipes already, and then I would speak. And I was doing it like, fancy people's fancy houses and penthouses and stuff downtown where people would want to, like, impress their friends and get healthy or something. So, but I don't do a lot of that anymore because we're so busy with the podcast and growing the business. Now with COVID, nobody wants to deal with that kind of stuff because they don't understand how viruses work, and they're bought into the mainstream media and the fear tactics, which actually lower your immune system.
Certainly.
Totally.
Make you more susceptible to getting sick. So I'm all about educating people and providing awareness and giving people the inspiration and the toolkit to change.
Absolutely. Like one of Megan's, she made a T-shirt for herself and says, "You can't inject health," right? We have to take it upon ourselves, man. And now is the best time, if ever. Obviously that's all the fear that's gonna, like you said, detract from our immune system, and now with the lockdowns, the gyms are shut down. I don't even know. I'm gonna do like burpees in the living room, I guess. I mean, I don't even, it's frustrating, but it takes that extra degree of motivation at this point now, I guess. And maybe that's part of the agenda of what we're seeing, really, because it's one thing to lock us down the first time back in the spring and summer, but now here we are, dude. It's like, oh man.
Well, it's interesting. About 15 years ago, maybe 14 years ago, my then husband at the time and I did a 21-day fast where we just did like the the broth, vegetable broth and purified water and all that. And I totally relate when you were saying like about the sweats, like how we smelled. I was insane because I'm about to be 42, so 15 years ago I was still pretty young gal. and it was incredible. Like, we were so sick, like you're saying, the rashes, the sweats, breath, everything. Like, when our bodies were like throwing off all this garbage, it was quite the experience. And then about 8, maybe 9 years ago or so, I actually watched a couple of documentaries. I think it was like Forks Over Knives, Food Inc., a couple of those. And I was watching David Avocado Wolf a bit. And I was like, this makes sense. This totally makes sense. And then I watched some I think it was Food Inc., the animal cruelty one. And I was like, oh, we're done that day. Like, we're not doing meat anymore. We're not going to have it in the house. And for about 8 months, I did the entire, like, it was raw food diet in my house, right? So I have a large family. I have, now I have grown children, but I have 6 children. And so that was really a struggle, because here I've been raised on meat and potatoes and, all the deep fried stuff. And that's what I've been feeding my kids. And all of a sudden, I have all of these like teenagers who are having their diet switched over. We're having like zucchini raw pasta and like avocado, sauce and all that, which I was completely happy with, but my family was not on board with. And what we started happening was people preparing their food separate over time. And I ended up sticking to a vegan diet until I think about just over a year ago. And then I went through some things in my life, and I just kind of walked away from that. And in that time, I have noticed, the bloating, the weight gain, the mind not being clear, lots of weight for not a good reason. My grandmother had irritable bowel syndrome. My mother was diagnosed with Crohn's disease. I have started to have horrific gut issues. 4 or 5 years ago, I was seeing a doctor who at that time was prescribing me huge amounts of medications, 7,000 pills a year, actually. I did that for about not quite 2 years, and then I just was like, this is not making me better. This isn't fixing the problem, and I just walked away from all of that. And so I relate to a lot of what you're saying, and it's encouraging to be kind of reminded and have somebody else that can have that experience outside of my own situation, and to reinforce that all those years where I was feeling good and I did have that energy. It's crazy. Just as we sit here talking, I'm like, oh yeah, of course, that's what's going on this last year and a half. Like, my diet completely swapped, and now at nighttime when I'm feeling munchy, instead of it, I used to like just drink water or certain fruits at bedtime, and now it's like there's M&Ms by my bedside table, and but it's. I laugh about it, but in truth, it makes a huge difference, and just the mental clarity thing, like I say, the whole gut health thing. It's a really big deal. So anyways, I definitely related to a lot of that.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome.
And Tim, I gotta say, man, like I've been listening to you a bit to get ready for this podcast, and I'm hearing you. I'm inspired. I want to get on this journey. How do you recommend someone start? Like, I'm, square one.
Because we all want to do
so
it
I'm
now.
going to do my core 4 secrets, but this is something that you see that?
Yep.
It says colors to die for.
Yeah.
So let me help you get off those M&Ms, Megan.
Yeah.
Blue dye number 1, or brilliant blue, causes chromosomal damage. Banned in France and Finland. It's found in M&Ms. Blue dye number 2, indigo carmine, health concerns, brain tumors, banned in Norway. Citrus red number 2, health concerns, bladder tumors, banned in U.S. food processing. Green dye number 3, health concerns, bladder tumors, banned in Europe and economic communities. Red dye number 40, health concerns, hyperactivity, chromosomal damage, lymphomas. Red dye number 3, thyroid tumors, chromosomal damage. FDA tried to ban it and failed. Neurochemical and behavioral effects. Yellow dye number 5, chromosomal damage, lymphomas, thyroid tumors, hyperactivity, aggression, violent behavior. Let's see, insomnia, asthma, allergies, neurochemical and behavioral effects, banned in Norway. Yellow dye number 6, chromosomal damage, eczema, hives, asthma, hyperactivity, allergies, thyroid tumors, banned in Norway and Sweden. And guess what? The reason I pulled this up was these dyes are just one microscopic little problem in the food, in the commercial food industry. I pulled that up because you brought that up to hopefully get you off of those M&Ms.
Yeah.
So you'll never put it in your mouth again. Once or twice here and there, not a big deal, but I'm not putting that crap in my body. There's no way. And it's scary because I was doing a reason I looked that up because I was doing an expose thing on Easter egg dyes. So I was doing research on that stuff. That's old stuff from like 10 years or 8 years ago when I did that deal. And it's like, there are so many these toxic things in our body. In fact, if people will just look, all you have to do is look up umbilical cord and chemical, those 3 words, umbilical cord and chemical. And you guys, if you watch me on the other podcast, you'll see these studies going back to 2005 that show that these scientists are looking in the bloodstream from the umbilical cord blood of young babies and young mothers, supposedly the healthiest of all of us. That's where they're, and they're finding 250 of the 400 chemicals they're looking for. This is 71% of what they're looking for. And 212 cause developmental and brain disorders. 180 of those chemicals they found cause cancer in humans. These studies kept coming out 2007, 2009, 2011, 2012, 2013, and it's not hitting mainstream media. Nobody's really talking about it. They're microscopic no-see-um toxins that are destroying our immune system from the inside out, lowering our immune system and making us more susceptible to disease. Researchers and scientists and doctors called them a body burden. So they're literally screwing us up. We are not, when you have this stuff in your body, you're not evolving, you're de-evolving. And that's why we spend $3.3 trillion, one of the major reasons, besides stress and a bunch of other stuff, but these toxic chemicals are a big problem. We spend $3.3 trillion in the United States trying to get healthy in the medical system, yet we're the sickest we've ever been as human beings on the face of the planet. So the system is broken. Nobody's talking about these no-see-um toxins. And when I saw those studies, that's when I sat back and I was like, oh my God, we're all polluted.
Yeah.
You're polluted. All of you guys, me, everybody's polluted because we're all breathing in the same air. And then I started going deep. The paint in our room is off-gassing toxic chemicals. When you're driving down the road, what happened? How do your tires wear out? Where does the rubber go? These microscopic toxins, or these rubber compounds, are thrown off into the air. They're so small. They attach to your mucous membrane in the back of your throat. They go down in your body. That's how it happens. Jet fuel, automobile exhaust, the glue in the particle board in your home, your synthetic carpet that's made out of crude oil processed with chemicals. If you're wearing nylon or lycra bras or panties or underwear, these are polyesters. Like me, when I was playing baseball, I don't know if you guys ever played sports, but like I had to wear long sleeve cotton shirts, and then in summers they'd get wet and heavy. They sucked. Or you take them off, or when it was cold in the fall when you're playing baseball and they could get wet. Then Nike Dry Fit came out and Under Armour, and that stuff was awesome. But guess what? Those are made out of polyesters. Those are made out of crude oil. Those are off-gassing these estrogen-mimicking chemicals directly into your bloodstream and causing things that are leading to breast cancer, prostate cancer, ovarian cysts, uterine cysts, man boobs. So I'm out of there. I ain't wearing that no more. So there's other companies out there now that are making, toxic-free natural fiber clothing that work for that kind of stuff. So all I've done is I teach people, here's the bad stuff, and start taking your buying dollars and buying things that aren't bad, that are good for you. Not only will you change your health, but you'll change industry and you'll improve the planet. It's a pretty simple thing. People don't realize that we hold all the cards because we have the buying dollars. Yep. Hopefully, if this lockdown doesn't continue, and then we become a socialist country, but that's where we're at right now. So we can control what goes into our body. And here's the scary thing, guys. They tested for 400 chemicals. There's over 100,000 chemicals out there. There's 2,000 new chemicals made every year, and only 1/4% of these are ever tested. The rest are just put out there. So the reality is that we could have upwards of 71,000 toxic chemicals in our bloodstream, and they're bioaccumulating in our fat and our muscle tissue, and you can't see them, but they're a problem, and you have to get these no-see-ums out. A good example is like when you clean your kitchen. You might be OCD on your kitchen, but if I go like this and put my finger across the top of your fridge, most likely there's dust on top of there. Out of sight, out of mind. And it's the same thing. You can't see inside of your digestive tract. You can't see inside of your fat, these microscopic deals and what they're doing, the harm they're doing to destroy your immune system. So it's really important to learn about them. Not freak out, because we don't want to cause fear. That's going to lower your immune system. Have awareness, then say, okay, what's my plan to get these suckers out and to keep them out?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, one of the things that I was curious about too. So this seems like a huge proposition. I got to admit, I still eat meat. We actually started this TRS heavy metal detox program that we're kind of just started down the path on. But I noticed that one of the components of that, they're talking about how you have to change your diet too. And that's a huge part of it too. And I'm still of the place where I'll just spray the thing in my mouth, the way it's recommended, and that's just going to cure me and fix me. And I'm like, in the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, no, I got to start down this path. I got to get rid of the dairy and all that, all the meat and this stuff and that. And so, but one of the things that occurs to me is I like to do strength training, when the gyms are open, that sort of thing. And so if I'm gonna go to a plant-based diet, how do I do that? Am I now in the supplement world exclusively? And how can I help supplement myself if I'm going to completely plant-based or nuts and that sort of thing?
Sure. That's a really good question. People have a lot of questions about that. So I think I'll give you a big answer.
Yeah.
So, when you're switching over like that, still, I think that what's most important is your foundation. You have to get the foundation in place first, especially before you do any heavy metal detox or liver, gallbladder, flush, or any of that stuff, you have to clean out the pathway of elimination, which is your digestive tract. That's very important because average person's got 6 to 12 pounds of that funk and gunk and jump accumulated in there. You start detoxing all this stuff, it can become like a log jam down there. And then there's a little vein in your intestinal tract, it's called the hepatic vein, and the toxins go right back up in the liver, and then it recirculates, and you're just like, you don't feel good. It delays, makes that detox symptoms last longer. So I would recommend for you getting a colon hydrotherapy session, or even better, taking our toxin detox product, the gut detox product. Do 3 in the morning, 3 at night for the first 15 days. Get that out of there, and then just do a 3 a day for maintenance, and always keep your digestive tract clean. Then drink a lot of water, and then you can start your heavy metal detox. But we have another product. If you try that one, you do your testing. It's called toxin detox. It pulls out heavy metals like mercury, cadmiums, leads, and heavy metal radiation, and the toxic chemicals, pesticides, fungicides, herbicides, larvicides. So those are our 2 detoxers. We recommend that. So now you're saying, I'm getting off of meat, do I have to supplement? Well, if you're on meat, you should be supplementing anyway, because supplementation is not a luxury anymore. It's a necessity. Yeah. 85%, hear me people, 85%, I flipped out when I read this because I was going to heal myself with whole foods. 85% of the soil's nutrients are gone.
Yeah. Yep.
They are not there anymore. So you can have all the organic produce you want, or all the grass-fed, beef and chickens and all that stuff, and it's all free range. But if it's not in the soil, it won't be in the plant, or it won't be in the animal that ate the plant. So literally, almost everybody's walking around on 15% octane. Can you imagine what's going to happen when you top off the tank and you put in the other 85%? That's actually what we call our Green 85 juice formula, Green 85. Yeah. It replaces the 85% that's missing in the food chain. That's the major problem. That's why people come back to life on it so well. We do it twice a day, just like the Hippocrates Health Institute. They actually invented green drinks. So now typically when people go plant-based, they're concerned about energy and can I build muscle? Yes. Okay, building muscle is not about protein so much. It's a huge myth. It's more about high-quality fats and weight resistance exercise and good sleep. And how do I know this? I have pretty good muscles, and I've also coached a lot of people that have a lot more muscles than me. And high-level CrossFit competitors, people that are into the gym all the time, jiu-jitsu experts, MMA fighters. I've coached all these people, and we help them cut the weight and build the muscle. And a lot of these fighters, they're trying to make weight. Could you imagine if I can help you get 6 to 12 pounds of unwanted fecal material out of your colon that could be turned into muscle? Right?
Yeah.
That's a 12-pound shift. It's a 6-pound shift, taking unwanted weight, and then all of a sudden now that's muscle weight. So you're stronger, but you're at the same weight when you go to your fight or your meet or your race or whatever, right? So it's about getting the body efficient. So typically what we've seen is that people, if they do it right and they add in all the living foods that have these micronutrients that are beyond vitamins, that are beyond minerals and beyond trace minerals, which are very important. But we're talking about things, Scott, like hormones that allow the cells to communicate properly, oxygen, which is very important for almost all processes in the body, the phytochemicals, which are, I'll give you an example. Wheatgrass is an example. When I first started this work, the Oregon State Health University, which is one of the top phytochemical researchers in the world, they had about 70,000 phytochemicals or plant chemicals or plant nutrients that have the ability to prevent disease and heal us in wheatgrass. 2 years later, in 2012, they were up to 74,000 and still counting. I don't know where they're at now, but we're talking tens of thousands of these phytochemicals that can heal you. A lot of people would understand. Do you remember when broccoli kind of made the big scene?
Yeah.
Sure.
And there was a blip. This is when Daddy Bush Sr. was president.
New World
And
Order.
this was in 1991. One of the top researchers at Johns Hopkins University in the Cancer Research Department said that broccoli was the biggest discovery he'd ever seen in cancer, ever. In 50 years. He called it phytochemo or plant chemo because literally this phytochemical in broccoli called sulforaphane was literally annihilating cancer cells, right? That one little thing that got on the news, and then George Bush Sr. was like, I don't like broccoli. And then they dumped like 600 pounds of broccoli on the steps there in Washington. The price of broccoli seed, guys, doubled overnight.
Wow.
And it's always been more. It's more than alfalfa. It's more than red clover. It's more than radish. Why? Because of that one little blip on the media. So what that told me is the media has a lot of power because it can shift people's thinking, but they never talked about it ever since. So, but we found out onion sprouts have more sulforaphane and garlic sprouts have more sulforaphane in it than broccoli. And they were just talking about broccoli. Broccoli sprouts had like 50 times more sulforaphane, right? So these are the things that are really important to know, these phytochemicals. And the last thing, these micronutrients, is enzymes. And enzymes are very important. Your body uses them. You can look up Dr. Edward Howell. He's a 50-year researcher on enzyme. He has a book called, I think it's called Enzyme Therapy. And it's just used in every process in the body. And there's both digestive and systemic enzymes. I'm not going to get into that tonight, but these enzymes are so important. And when you take a head of lettuce like the University of Berkeley did in California, and they tested enzyme activity, and then the lettuce, and then they cut the lettuce, waited 30 minutes, and then tested it again. How much of a drop do you think happened on those enzymes?
Okay, I don't even know.
It's about 50%.
50%, okay.
Half the enzymes were gone in 32 minutes.
Wow.
What do you think happens when somebody goes out into the field and harvests something, puts it in a truck?
Oh, yeah.
By the time they finish, they take it to a cooling storage place, and they put it on another truck. They drive it on average 1,500 to 2,500 miles. They take it to the big store or holding pen. Then the stores come pick it up, put it in the store, and then you come grab it, and a day or two later, you make your salad. Is there any enzymes in that sucker?
Absolutely
No.
not.
Phytochemicals, hormones, oxygen. No, it's gone. Like these are the micronutrients we're missing that living foods give us. So every single wild creature on this planet eats a 100% raw living food diet. We're the only ones that cook our food and then ship our food and then spray our food and do all this stuff, weird stuff to it, right? We wonder why we're messed up. Remember what Hippocrates said? He said, let thy food be thy medicine and thy medicine be thy food.
Yes.
Our medical doctors take an oath when they finish medical school that says, I will do no harm. That was what Hippocrates said. That's the Hippocratic oath based on Hippocrates. I will do no harm. Yet they didn't listen to the other part. Let thy food be thy medicine, and thy medicine be thy food. Oh, that's for the dietitians and nutritionists. Screw that stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm gonna cut your leg off.
Yeah.
It's just like it makes no sense.
Yeah.
So those micronutrients are really important, Scott. And if you get those, what you'll notice, you won't need to supplement with so many things because you'll have things in there. I call it the phytochemical override. Now, possibly you're going to need some what they call B12 and that kind of stuff. But if you do sprouted wheat seeds, as an example, like we have in our product here, you're going to get the B vitamins and superoxide dismutase and all these things. And maybe you do need to do some B12, but you don't need to do much of it, right? So, there's a couple things, but you can also get your blood tested and then see if there's any deficiencies. If there are, you can find a good supplement to do it. But like in our program, we just focus on the foundation, getting people clean, get the blood clean, the fat clean, the muscle tissue clean, all that stuff, the brain tissue clean, flooding the body with nutrients, building up the bacteria, and letting the immune system do what it's supposed to do.
Awesome.
Yes.
So on that note, so like I've noticed the only difference between like a regular nutrition label and a supplement label, I've noticed one says nutrition facts, the other one says supplement facts. So like what are we looking for in terms of like a supplement label?
Those labels are,
Yeah.
it's just they don't even make sense. The only thing that really matters is that let me show you guys how, because I just started reading labels because you have to, right?
Yeah.
So if you're going to look at, let's just say supplements, you have to understand that 92% of the supplements on the market are pure synthetics. They're the synthetic derivative. They're acid-based. 85% total are owned by pharmaceutical companies. But they put a label around them like, Nature Johnny Boy, and he's got this vitamin C. And then there's a picture of some dude with a bunch of flowers around him, and it says vitamin C. It's a synthetic ascorbic acid that was made in a laboratory. It's a derivative of what nature. So it doesn't come with all the bioflavonoids and cofactors and all the things that come naturally. So when you're reading a label, if multivitamins are the easiest. So look at the vitamin C, and behind it in parentheses, if it says ascorbic acid, you're consuming a synthetic chemical. It's acid based. That doesn't work in your carbon based body so well. It can in emergencies, but I wouldn't want to take that on a daily for sure.
Okay.
What you want to see behind vitamin C in parentheses is from the amla berry, or from the arceola cherry, or from the camu berry. Now you've got a whole food source, or whole herbs. Those are the 8% of the supplement industry. That's the ones you want, real food. But now you have to look at the other ingredients, because the other ingredients are also ingredients. And you're going to be consuming those things. So when you look like at our products, you'll see there's a big red letters there, and it says no magnesium stearate, no silicon dioxide, and it's not zooming in right now, but and no dicalcium phosphate. Okay, and those are 3 of the major excipients, or binders, or fillers, or flow agents. Let me explain. So when you do a synthetic derivative, it's not going to fill up a capsule very well. Americans are not going to buy empty capsules, so they have to fill it up. That's a filler, right? When you have a great, let's say the 4 of us get together, we create a great raw food, real food supplement, and then we send it off to a manufacturer. In their encapsulation machines, they're going to use what's called a flow agent to help the raw materials flow through their encapsulation machine, so it's anti-caking. So it speeds up production. They don't have to stop the machines, clean them all out, and do it all over again. That's good for money, it's good for production, but it's not good for your health, because those flow agents can be things like silicon dioxide, which is a level 3 toxin on the EPA's toxin list. Yet it's okay to put in your body, right? In certain amounts. It's okay. So my whole story around this, it's about a brownie recipe. So let's say that Ed has he's the state champion brownie recipe. He won the county, he went to state, now he's on his way to nationals.
Watch out.
All right. So let's say Ed's home, he's making his brownies, and his daughter shows up with her friend, and they're like, "Hey, Dad, I want to go. Oh my God, there's this amazing movie. It's unbelievable. All the kids are going. Everybody in town's talking about it. Me and my friend want to go. Can we please go? Can we please go?" And Ed's what's the first question he's gonna say? Well, what's it rated? Well, it's rated R. It's rated R, but it's got a great plot and a great movie. There's only one cuss word, Dad. Only one little cuss word and one brief scene of nudity, like a butt cheek goes by. That's it. And Ed's thinking about it. He's like, "Well, you know what? Okay, honey, you can go." The daughter's like ecstatic. She can't believe it. This is unheard of. Dad would never let her go to a rated R movie. She's 16, but maybe she's feeling like she's getting older. Her and her friend are high-fiving. She's excited. And then Ed's like, "But wait a minute. I have one condition." She's like, "I knew it. I knew it. You're not going to let us go." He's like, "No, you're going to go. You can go. But one condition. You guys have to have one of my brownies before you go." "Oh, your brownies? Sure. These are the award-winning brownies. We won them." They grab the brownies, and right before they take a bite, you're like, "Hold on a second. Just want to let you know something before you put those in your mouth. The ingredients, the recipe is just a little bit different than I usually made it." And you're like, "What are you talking about?" "Well, it's the same ingredients. It's the same recipe that one county at one state, and I'm going to nationals. But I put just a little teeny bit, not much, but just a tiny bit, just the littlest amount. You won't even notice it's there. You won't taste it. You can't smell it, but it's just a tiny bit of cat poop." And the girls are like, "Oh my God, that's disgusting." They throw the brownies down. We're not going to eat that. And then Ed's like, "That's exactly why you're not going to go to that movie either.
Ooh, there you
It's
go.
rated R. It's got the cuss word in it, and it's got a brief scene of nudity. It's been tainted, and the whole movie is destroyed. And you're 16, and you do not need to be subjected to that." And that's my approach when it comes to the food that I put in my body and supplements, because supplements should be food. So I think it's a very sacred thing to put something in your mouth, and I would prefer that if that was cat poop, I would much rather eat cat poop, as long as the cat was, eating mice that were grown in a field that was organic and it wasn't sprayed,
Yeah.
than to eat silicon dioxide or dicalcium phosphate or magnesium stearate or any of these other toxic binders, fillers, or flow agents that they'll put into the other ingredients. So please check your labels. You will be shocked It doesn't matter how good the ingredients are, how good the formula is. If it has one of these things in it, I believe that it has been tainted, and you shouldn't do it. So that's just my personal view on it.
Wow, very informative. Yeah.
So Tim, in your experience, you went to a retreat and to start this process. Just, do you think that is a good idea for a lot of people, or how would you recommend people get started on this journey?
Well, you were looking at some
absolutely.
up in Portland.
Go ahead.
Right? But anyway, yeah.
Yeah, if you have the time and the money, full immersion I think is a really good thing, and then come back. But for most people, that's not possible. They've got kids and a job, or they're taking care of aging parents, or you're just busy. You're coaching. There's all kinds of things going on. So what we don't want to have is we don't want to have you go through this major detox deal, because you're going to be like, this isn't working. I'm feeling worse. I can't do this. I'm trying to work, and I'm trying to get a promotion, or I've got to travel. I can't do this. So what we've developed is baby steps. So our products are designed to gently start cleaning you out without the symptoms. Now, some people do experience them a little bit, but we go baby steps. We just get you. Did we do the Core 4 Secrets earlier? Have we done that yet?
No, we haven't done it.
Core 4 Secrets.
Nope.
Okay, so this is what I would recommend people start with. I had helped lots of folks do this. I sold a lot of juicers to people. Because I healed myself through juicing. So I was like, you got to get a juicer like me. And then look what happened to me. And my buddy healed himself of cancer. So a lot of people bought juicers because of us. But the problem is in a month to 3 months, the juicer was under the cupboard and they weren't using it. Why? Because I went and interviewed them and asked them. And they said, I don't got time. I don't want to clean that damn juicer.
That's why I put mine away. I had a juicer. I was doing that same thing after we did that juice fast, and for many years we incorporated juicing. We were juicing fresh, kale and everything for our kids, beets, and then it's cleaning it and buying fresh stuff every single day.
It's expensive. It can be $5 to $8 a juice,
and it's a whole process, especially if you're juicing for your family. Like it feels like if you're busy that it's not really feasible.
Yeah, and most people won't do it. So I committed to my friend. I gave my word. So I made a juice twice a day, every day for 5.5 years, never stopped, grew the sprouts. And my juices were half sprouts, half sunflower and pea sprouts, fresh cut, juiced, living juice. So that's like most people are just not going to do it. So, but we had, we were delivering trays of sprouts to 40 to 50 cancer patients a week, and they were putting them in salads, and they were also juicing them and following the protocols. That's what they teach at the Hippocrates Health Institute, because when you got your back against the wall and a gun to your head, you're willing to do anything to live. So you'll make that juice. But for most people, they want to lose 20 pounds or, get off their medications, fix their Hashimoto's, get rid of their Crohn's. They might not be as motivated, okay? So we recommend these Core 4 Secrets, because I went and interviewed them, and I came up with 3 things. I added a 4th one later, which would be the least amount of effort, but would produce the most results in their health and their life. Core secret number 1 is drinking half your body weight in liquid ounces of purified water daily. So if you're a 200-pound individual, that's 100 ounces a day. If you're a 150-pound individual, 75 ounces a day. 100 pounds, 50 ounces. You get it, right? Now, if you're living in the city and you're on tap water, that water needs to be restructured, because those water molecules, instead of being like a 4 or 5 cluster, they get bigger and they turn into bowling balls, and they will not go through the chain link fence, which is your intestinal tract. Like, try it. Try throwing a bowling ball against a chain link fence. Good luck getting it to go through there. That's the water you're drinking that comes from high pressure tap water. So the water needs to be restructured, turned into sand, and then throw sand through a chain link fence. Most of it's going to go through, right? That's the difference. 3 years ago, I added restructured water to my life, and now instead of just drinking water, and peeing water, now I'll drink, and wait, and then I pee a lot. And I drink. So I'm still drinking a lot of water, but I pee less, and I pee more when I pee. So what that tells me is it's actually getting into my system, getting into my cells, doing what it needs to do, getting into my lymphatic system, and then coming out, okay? These are really important things. Carol, one of our clients, dropped 50 pounds in 8 months just doing this one tactic, and it's very important. It's your body's mostly made of water. You're like 75, 80% water. Your brain's 80% water. Even your bones are 22% water. So it's really important. And we know that the reason why people have all this impacted fecal material in their colon is because the first place your body goes for water when it's deficient in it, which 95% of the people listening are, only 5% are getting enough of it, it goes to your colon first. So your colon gets dried out, and then that's how it gets impacted. It's really simple. So the Royal Society of Medicine said 85% of disease starts in the colon. And again, I totally agree with that. Drink water. complete game changer.
So just a quick question on that. I get delivered the big bottles of water. Is all this water created the same? Do I need to be looking at anything when I get my water delivered? Can I trust that it's going to be good water?
Probably not. You'd have to do some research on it. If it's delivered in plastic, then they don't know what they're doing, because plastic is off-gassing. People are like, well, it's a BPA-free plastic. Well, what about BPA? What about BPS or BPB or BPD or BPE or BPF or BPZ? There's all these other xenotoxins. So you go that Aaron Brockovich whole thing, millions of dollars is spent. They finally shut down BPA, and guess what? They got 37 other xenotoxins right behind it. They don't care. Forget about it. Plastic is so pervasive today because it off-gases. That's why you don't want to wear polyesters, especially women. Please change your bras and your panties, and men, change your boxers and your shorts, because they are in very high hormonal areas and they're off-gassing. It's the same thing with these plastic bottles. That's why if you see, I've got a glass jar here.
Yeah.
Right? I'm drinking out of glass because I am not putting that stuff in my body anymore. I'm working to get it out. How bad is it? Well, if you fly 1,500 miles into the interior to these pristine lakes, little 2 and 2.5 inch fishies now have both male and female organs. They've turned into hermaphrodites. Why? Because of estrogen mimickers from plastics. What's it going to do to you? Breast cancer, prostate cancer, man boobs, ovarian cyst, uterine cyst. So we don't want this stuff. We want to get it out. So we want to stop putting it in. So if it's in plastic, you don't want that. You want the water to be purified. I've got a gal named Danusha. I send everybody to her. I call her Water Woman, and she'll get you started. So the best thing you can do on the cheap is at least get gallon glass jars, go to your local grocery store and start buying single purified water. At least it'll pull out 90% of the contaminants. It'll be about 25 to 44 cents a gallon, and start packing your water. You want to invest in your health? Then you can talk to Danusha, and she's got stuff from $200 to $400 up to $5,000, and you can combo them, right? So it just depends on what you want. Right, and then what your budget allows. So if I don't know if you guys have show notes, I can give you her website. It's danusha.com. Yep. It's hard to it's like Donna in Polish. It's Polish for Donna, but it's DANOUCHA.com. It's Dan Ouch. That's how I remembered how to learn to spell it. Dan Oucha. So danusha.com, and she's Water Woman. You can book a free consult with her if you're really interested in getting your water. And I believe that if you change your water, you'll literally change your life, because you're mostly made of water.
Sure.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other water questions?
No.
Cool.
Okay, so now we go to core secret number 2. Chew your food until liquefied. This was the first thing that I learned at that 3.5-hour lecture at Hippocrates, the internal awareness class. Your teeth are the first domino in digestion. They're a mechanical process to break the food particles into small pieces so that your digestive tract has an easier job of absorbing the nutrients and processing them. So if you don't chew your food and you just inhale your food like Garfield, like I did, well, your stomach's going to have to labor and labor and labor. And, most of your energy is going to be zapped during the day just processing your foods to get it out of you. So it makes sense. By chewing your food, you're going to have more energy simply by breaking it down. You're also going to have 2 ducts in your upper mouth and 4 in your bottom mouth that secrete enzymes amylase and lipase. These are going to break down your starches and your fats, and they go down into your food, and that's where then they break everything down. And for protein, you have hydrochloric acid and pepsin down there, and that's going to break that down. And then that's the only place in your body where your body's acid, and then it goes through the duodenum, this little 1-foot tube. It's a magical little tube, and then it becomes alkaline, and then that food dumps into the small intestine, and then it goes through the intestinal lining and into through the bloodstream and into the cells. That's the goal. We want digestion and absorption of nutrition, not fermentation and gut rot. If you do not chew your food well, which less than 4% of the population is doing, you're going to be heading more towards fermentation and gut rot, and then you'll get leaky gut like I did. And in fact, right now, 90% of us have leaky gut at some level. What is that? It's these small microscopic tears in the intestinal lining, and now undigested food particles and microbes slip into the bloodstream, and they cause a systemic or internal inflammation that your body's dealing with, and it's going to make you sick. It could show up as cancer. It could show up as Graves' disease, fibromyalgia, Crohn's, headaches, whatever. So we don't want that. We want the digestive lining to be perfect and not have big tears in it. Small particles getting in. That's core secret number 2. Core secret number 3, now that you're drinking lots of water, you're chewing your food well, you want to avoid liquids with meals. This is very important. Why would you want to do this? Well, if you work so hard to put those enzymes in there, and then now you drink purified restructured water or wine or beer or apple juice, what's going to happen? You're going to dilute the enzymes, and you're going to go right back to fermentation and gut rot. And you're going to be destroying over the time those intestinal villi, those little hair-like structures that create that peristaltic action that push your food through and pull the nutrients through the intestinal lining into the bloodstream. You got to take care of those intestinal villi. If your intestinal villi are squeaky clean and healthy, and guess what? Your skin's going to look freaking amazing. That's what's going to happen. So if you have, for people that want to have nice skin, heal your gut and the skin will follow. I promise you that. That's core secret number 3, avoiding liquids with meals. And what's the recipe? For beginners, stop drinking liquids 30 minutes before you eat, and then wait an hour after you're done eating, and then drink a lot of liquids again. If you have stage 4 cancer, or you're an Olympic level athlete, or you just want to take your health to the best level or have the best looking skin in the world, then stop drinking liquids an hour before and then wait 2 hours after and then start drinking a lot of liquids again.
Wow.
Less than 2% of the population is doing that one. And then the last one is core secret number 4. Now that you've drinking the water, you're chewing your food, you're avoiding liquids with meals, now you do some breath work before you eat. Why? Because breath work can take you out of fight or flight and put you into rest and digest mode. It just kind of makes sense, right? So if you're in fight or flight, your body, your cortisol levels are jacked up, your adrenals are going to be blowing out, and your blood leaves the organ systems to go to fight or flight. It goes to your hands, to your extremities, your hands and feet. So simply by taking a big deep breath in through your nose like this, pause at the top, and then release out through the mouth. And then pause at the bottom with your lungs completely emptied. And then repeat back in through the nose. And then pause. And then release out through the mouth. And as you're going through this process of the air going in and out very slowly, you can be grateful for the food in front of you. You can be grateful that you have this body that has the innate capacity to heal itself. You can be grateful for the people in your life and be grateful that your digestive tract is going to heal itself, and it's going to take all these nutrients and it's going to digest them and assimilate them properly. When you get in that frame of mind, you're going to have really good digestion. Less than 1% of the population is doing this, and it only takes 1 to 2 minutes, and you can get that blood back into the organ systems. This tactic can not only be used for eating, but also when you're stressed. You can do this anywhere, anytime, and hop in your car, take a break, go to the bathroom. Somebody's yelling at you at work, go to the bathroom, calm down, be the needle in the eye of the storm. It really helps, and it'll help you reduce your stress levels, which is really killing people. So those are our core 4 secrets. And again, less than 5% of the population is doing any of that stuff. I felt guilty for 2.5 years. I didn't charge anybody for that foundational stuff, but nobody's doing it. For the most part. And guess what? I know it works. It worked for me. It's worked for hundreds of my coaching students, thousands of people that have joined us. And now we know emphatically, because we started shipping internationally, people order our products now, guys, and then we're already getting emails coming in saying, hey, I have less gas and bloating. I have more energy. I'm sleeping better. And I don't even have the products yet. I'm just doing those core 4 secret deals.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Wow. So cool. Well, there's one other thing we definitely wanted to cover here. What was that question, Megan?
Oh gosh. Was it environmental toxins? I'm wondering about environmental toxins. What do we do about those?
Lots of purified restructured water. Infrared saunas are good. Exercise is going to push those suckers out really good. We have a product called Toxin Detox that will remove those. Those are some of the things to start with, and then learn where they're at and stop putting them in, right? So these environmental toxins are also, just think about it. Anything that goes in your mouth or on your skin can be good for you or it can cause a problem. So I remember at the Institute I was learning, because remember, it's not just a place where it's food and all that stuff. It's a school, and you get 40 hours of lectures. So I learned a lot of stuff there. And one of the things they said is, if you have sodium lauryl sulfate, which is a carcinogen, in your soaps, you don't want to switch that out. If you have fluoride in your toothpaste, and your toothpaste is harmful if swallowed, contact the Poison Control Center, you may want to rethink that deal.
That's been on the to-do list for a long time.
It's like, why are you putting that in your body? If you have to contact the Poison Control Center, why the hell are we putting it in our mouth? I come home and there's my Crest or whatever the hell I was doing at the time, and it said Contract the Poison Control Center. I'm like, damn it. Threw that away. I went over to all my shampoos and soaps. Sodium lauryl sulfate, first ingredient. Shit. Throw that away. So, but that is what it is. And what ends up happening is like you put natural. Here's the deal. If you can't eat it, you shouldn't put it on your skin. Done. That's the litmus test right there. Period.
Oh, okay.
So you follow that, and then you've solved all your problems. What soap should I do? Well, can you eat it? Nope. Then you shouldn't buy it. What kind of sunblock should I put on? Can you eat it? Nope. Then don't buy it. You know, so it's just that easy. Makeup. There's mineral makeups and all kinds of things that are healthy for you. Shampoos. One of the things that was really crazy is I was reading an article. The dyes in hair dye, like where people get their hair dyed, like a lot of women get their hair done, guys too. They had to shut down like the river or whatever, the bay there in Los Angeles, because it was so carcinogenic. And it was from all the dyes from all these salons and stuff like that washing down. And I'm thinking, oh my God, everybody's putting this on their head. It's going into their scalp and into their brain and into their blood system. So I started telling all these women, like, yeah, you got to stop dyeing your hair. You're killing yourself. And they're like, screw you, buddy. You know, because they want to dye their hair. So what I learned was you can't show people what the problem is without giving them a solution, right? So I don't dye my hair. I got some gray hairs. I'm happy about it. I don't care. So what I did was I went and looked into hair dyes. I looked into one called Hair Print, which brings back your natural dye. There was another one called Oway. It's like a farm to chair deal. And then there's another one called Mastay. Now, I don't know. It's been years since I did it. I hair dyed myself for a couple years, going through these different dyes, figuring it out. And then I was telling the women, okay, you don't dye your hair with that, but you dye it with this. So I gave them solutions, and then I stopped dyeing my hair again. So there you go. You got to give people solutions, otherwise they're just going to get mad at you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Alternatives.
So Tim, I'm at a point here. I think I've been inspired, and I'm gonna sign up for one of these colon hydrotherapy sessions and get going on this.
I might join you.
And we're
If we go-
actually
if we're-
coming
we're
up
all-
to Portland,
to Portland,
next
yeah.
week. So I was gonna reach out maybe to Rebecca's office and see if they can get us in. But I know it's kind of feels like pointless if I don't make those changes to keep going. Now I know you're like you're a health coach. Do you recommend someone if they're getting in on this, get a health coach? Is that kind of how would you recommend someone start making this transition?
It's a good idea, but the reality is that health coaches are great, but a lot of people can't afford a private coach.
Yep.
Like I'm pretty expensive. I used to coach 20 people, now I'm down to 10.
Sure.
So I've raised my prices. I keep raising them, but I still have people that want me to. They have tons of money. It's no big deal to them.
Sure.
But so what I did was I started a private group coaching program. And it's just another product in our product tab. It says like a picture of me with a microphone. It says Tim James Private Group Coaching. And right now we're, I don't know if by the time this thing's recorded, but we're doing a special right now. So it's like 80% off. So you can get grandfathered in at just $37 a month. I go live every Wednesday. You come on, ask questions. We answer them. I answer as many as I can. You're also going to get access to all of our stuff, like our gut detox guide, our chemical-free body shopping guide, my class notes, my bath recipes, my stop smoking protocol. All kinds of stuff is in there. Candida protocols. And then my list, we're starting to build a list out of all the different products that I use in my life for everything else. That's happening right now. So everything's toxic free, chemical free. I actually have somebody that's paid right now, and we're building that sucker out. So it's always growing. Every second Wednesday of the month, I also do Talk with the Doc. So our formulator comes on, Dr. Scott Treadway. You can talk with him. He actually did clinical practice over in India. He's got a cool story. He was supposed to be a medical doctor, went to Cornell, said, I'm not going to do this. This isn't really helping people. I'm going to be a naturopath. Realized that wasn't good enough for him. Flew to India and studied under thousands of years of apprenticeship under these two clinics of what works, and became a master herbalist in Indian herbology, then Chinese herbology and Western herbology, brought it back, created his own clinic, helped people for 10 years, and now he's a master formulator. And he's a consultant. There's 17 of the top supplement companies, has his own lab. He's my formulator and my friend now, and he helped me with all my product line. And so there's just a lot in that group coaching that's really powerful. And plus we have community in there. And then our other coach, Rebecca Wolf, she's doing our blog. So she does like Toxic Free Tuesdays, and she shows you different, instead of this, buy that, instead of this, like just all kinds of cool stuff, man. So it's like the recipes and all that stuff's in there. So
Excellent.
That's great.
Well, yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna one thing to kind of wrap it up here. One of the things I was thinking is, So just kind of wrap this all back into what we're dealing with right now. We got, this COVID-19 and everybody's scared of this virus and lockdowns. And, we're in Oregon and the mask rules have just been getting stricter and stricter. And, I think our approach has always been, and we would agree that, if we can take care of ourselves and boost our immune systems, that is going to be way more effective than using these masks or whatever they're telling us to use. But one of the people I've been listening to a little bit lately is Dr. Tom Cowan. Are you familiar with him at all?
Yeah,
okay,
a little bit.
But just, I think I've been hearing that, just questioning virus theory altogether. Just that, how we look at viruses and why we're so scared of them and how we react. I really think that, he's listening to him. He's really onto something that the viruses aren't the big bad that they've made out to be. That they kind of help. They're kind of something that almost helps us. They help our bodies
evolve.
Yeah. Do you have anything to say about?
Yeah. Well, that's what Dr. Shiva talked about, which is it's part of our interferon system.
Sure.
We need viruses. Remember, our bodies are made of 380 trillion viruses, so we're mostly viruses.
Yeah, we're mostly viruses, folks.
I'm going to look something up right here,
Yeah.
and let me find this really quick because it's totally worth it.
Totally.
And I'm going to read something to you guys. So when it comes to coronavirus and all this stuff and flu and all these things, number one is you cannot live in fear.
Yeah.
Fear is going to lower your immune system, period. Okay? So everything they're telling you to do is going to fear you. Now, when you go to the news, let me move this over here. Sorry for any noise.
You're good.
When you go to the news, they're going to use fear. What are they doing now? Cases, right?
100%.
Well, what's a case? Well, a case is you get tested positive for the coronavirus and you have symptoms. You have a fever, you have chills, you're vomiting, you have diarrhea. These are symptoms. You go to a doctor, they start a chart. That becomes part of your Medical Information Bureau, the MIB. That's a case, okay? Just because somebody tests positive, that's not a case. That's a test positive. So when the news has this thing, cases and deaths, these are designed to scare people. It's on there, all the news channels, 24 hours a day. People don't realize that all those news channels are all connected now. Yes. They're all getting their information from the Associated Press and Reuters, which is owned by Rothschilds.
Yep.
So they're just spewing all the same crap. Verbatim, they're teleprompting reading. They're paid teleprompter readers. That's what they're doing.
Yes.
And some of them know what's going on. Some of them don't care. Some of them get talked into it, but whatever. That's what they're doing to us. So what people have to understand is you can't buy into the fear. These are not cases. The other thing is the reason why there's more cases, as they call them, is because there's more testing being going on right now.
Right.
Okay, period. They're ramping up testing. The White House has been doing that. They ramp it up. So of course there's going to be more cases, but then we have to look at the testing. That's where the rubber hits the road. These things are called PCR tests. And these PCR tests, what they do, and you guys are probably familiar with this because you're in the union on the one and all that
Break
stuff.
it down.
So most of the doctors are basically saying they take a tissue sample, they put it under a microscope, and they look at it, and they zoom in on it once. I think it's called a cycle. They cycle in once, and they zoom in again, cycle. After 17 cycles or magnifications, after that, the test is pretty much useless. That's what a lot of the, smart doctors are saying. Even Fauci said that when you magnify it more than 35 times or 35 cycles, it's useless. It's not going to work. You're going to get all these false positives. But the FDA says that the testing facilities should do 40 cycles.
Yeah, World
So
Health.
that's why we're getting 70 to 90% false positives. So the more people test, the more cases, but we're still looking at 70 to 90% false positive. And we saw this in Florida back, I can't remember, it was June or July or whatever, and there was like these testing facilities, like 98% and 100% of the people we tested had COVID. People were like freaking out. And then they came back later and like, oh, it was only 9.8%,
Yeah.
Or it was like the 77 NFL football players got all tested, all these healthy big dudes playing football, and they all got COVID. And then they came back and said, oh, they don't.
Yeah.
But there for a while, 77 NFL football players got COVID. Scare, fear. 100% of people and 98% of people in Florida are dying. Fear, or got tested positive cases. Fear.
Yep.
and then they'll be on page 36 in size 6 font. Oh, they didn't have that. Sorry. It's not front page newsletter. Nobody sees it. They just keep fearing and fearing and fearing. So we have to stop the fear. We have to understand that what they're telling us is not cases. These are test results that are completely skewed up to words of 70 to 90%. And we should get pissed off at these people for lying to us and scaring our friends and scaring our relatives and scaring people. I mean, we have seniors that are afraid to go to the house, that won't let their family come over and see them, because they're freaked out, right? So these things are just, to me, are it's not right. This is wrong, what's happening. And I'm going to read you guys something here that's really important. It's really cool too. I found this not too long ago. Okay, here it is. All right. So this is more than 100 years ago. Rudolf Steiner. You guys know that dude?
Sounds familiar.
I've heard the name.
Yeah, he wrote the following. In the future, now keep in mind, this was 100 years ago he wrote this. In the future, we will eliminate the soul with medicine. Under the pretext of a healthy point of view, there will be a vaccine by which the human body will be treated as soon as possible directly at birth, so that the human being cannot develop the thought of the existence of the soul and the spirit. To materialistic doctors will be entrusted with the task of removing the soul of humanity. As today, people are vaccinated against this disease or that disease. So in the future, children will be vaccinated with a substance that can be produced precisely in such a way that people, thanks to this vaccination, will be immune to being subjected to the madness of spiritual life. He would be extremely smart, but he would not develop a conscience. And that is the true goal of some materialistic circles. With such a vaccine, you could easily make the etheric body loose in the physical body. Once the etheric body is detached, the relationship between the universe and the etheric body would become extremely unstable, and the man would become an automaton. For the physical body of man must be polished on this earth by spiritual will. So the vaccine becomes a kind of iromanic force. Man can no longer get rid of a given materialistic feeling. He becomes materialistic of constitution and can no longer rise to the spiritual. This was Rudolf Steiner. Remember, guys, this was like 100 freaking years ago that guy wrote that deal.
Wow.
About vaccines. And it's worse than that. Now they've got nanotech in these things. They've got, I just did you can look it up. I just did a post on Facebook yesterday there was one of the coronavirus vaccines, and we looked up some of the stuff, and a lot of it's coming from 14-month-old lung cells from aborted male fetuses. That's one of the things they have in the vaccine.
Yep.
Another thing is it's RNA. Mm-hmm. So it's basically they've developed genes that are not even human, and they're injecting those into you. So it's screwing up your genes. So we don't even know what the effects are. And they have a huge disclaimer saying, like it was over in Europe, and it was saying that if they don't have the artificial intelligence to track and monitor these side effects that are going to come from it, that it's basically going to really mess people up. Right? It's really going to mess people up. So there's this rush right now to develop this AI technology to track all this stuff, and it could be very detrimental to people. So I don't know about you, but I ain't putting that shot in my arm.
Oh no, this is the hill we all came to die on, for sure.
That's the hill to die on. And it's crazy too, because they're saying all these studies are coming out 90% effective, 95% effective. Well, you know what's 99.9% effective? Our immune system. So let's take care of it, right?
And those studies they said are 95% or whatever. I mean, there's
it's 43,000 guys. This is scientific consensus. Like Dr. Shiva Ayyadurai said, this is not scientific. What do you call it? It's a scientific. So there's scientific consensus. There's a bunch of people in the scientific community say this is the way it is. Mm-hmm. That's not the case. It should be scientific. It's like evidence or something. Sure, it's like scientific theory. It's got to be scientific theory. It's got to be based in fact.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not. Definitely. And science is always changing, right? So remember, it wasn't too long ago people thought the Earth was flat.
Yeah.
And they would stone people for thinking opposite.
Well, there's some of us around here that maybe do, not us. But
and remember, for those watching, remember I showed you guys this earlier. This is in our hometown here, out of Portland. And for those on YouTube, you guys can see that where it says there's a billboard this doctor put up, paid for. It says cloth masks don't, in great big red letters, don't stop viruses. And then it says /science. Learn more, and then blah, blah, blah at their clinic. And that's right there. And I had to shoot a video in front of it and take a photo of it because it's
great.
like people are waking up. And it's like, and a lot of people are pissed.
Yeah.
Like a lot of these scientists, like I had Dr. Scott Jensen,
Yes.
who's
Great
the
episode.
acting senator for Minnesota. He was on my show, and he just did a thing today. And he's hotter than a hornet about this whole thing, about the lockdowns, and
Good.
Love it.
he's a good dude.
Good.
Yeah,
Awesome,
for sure.
man.
Can you tell me, Tim, the Rudolph Steiner quote that you just read?
Yeah.
Where did you pull that from?
I pulled that off of a friend's. He posted it on his
We can
Facebook
find it.
feed.
Okay, all right, we'll find it.
We'll get the papers. Well, Tim, thank you so much, man.
Yeah,
like this
thank
is
you.
such a huge and awesome, informative thing. I hope our folks go back and really dive into this stuff. And good news is, I hear you have a special offer for our listeners.
I do, and just
Yeah.
to finish off on the COVID thing,
Oh,
guys.
yeah.
I know we all have to
Oh,
go,
totally.
but don't live in fear.
Yes.
Boost your immune system. Get outside. Get sunshine. Get fresh air. Get those good bacteria. Eat lots of green leafy vegetables. These have vitamin A that work against viruses. Lots of vitamin D3. That's why you want to get the sunshine. Or supplement with vitamin D3 and cholecalciferol or lichens. Those are the good types to get that from. And also zinc. Zinc stops viruses from replicating. And you can get that from foods or you can supplement it. In foods, one of the best things for zinc, mung beans. Chinese mung beans are riddled with zinc. Eat tons of mung beans. Juice the mung beans. Put them in your salads. They're also good for the prostate. Vitamin A, vitamin D3, zinc, and vitamin C. And if you get into critical situation with COVID or pneumonia or any other respiratory disease, you can do high-dose vitamin C IVs.
Yep.
Those work really good. And we have Dr. Ryan Paget, who is a medical doctor up in Seattle early on. I think it was in like March. He got COVID. He's 44 years old, 6'4", 250 pounder, was a football star at Northwestern. He got it. He was dying, wasn't doing good. They put him on a ventilator, and then his health went down quickly because ventilators will whack you and kill you in most cases on that situation because it's stupid. It blows up your lungs. And then the doctors use this radical thing. They put him on an immunosuppressant drug and high-dose vitamin C IV, and he was fine in a few days.
Wow.
You know, so I had that evidence. It was out of the Los Angeles Times. The mainstream media actually printed it. I couldn't believe it. I printed it out because they delete it.
Yeah.
So I have that article showing that. Now, if it comes down to it and you're still freaked out and you don't trust natural stuff, you don't understand that you're from nature or whatever, then I'm okay. You know, normally I'm chemical-free body guy. I don't promote vaccines or you know, unless things are safe or pharmaceutical drugs. But we have something called hydroxychloroquine and zinc.
Yep.
That works. Also, Dr. Tom Bartlett out of Texas uses budesonide. It's an inhaled steroid.
Yep.
It's like $200. You could pay $200 out of pocket, and a lot of copays will pay for it. You pay $20 or whatever. Budesonide and zinc. And I remember back in July, I looked. Taiwan, Singapore, and Japan, population combined of about 151 million people. In July, only had like 1,015 deaths, and they were using an inhaled like steroid like the budesonide and I think zinc. So these people are living on islands. They're stacked like cordwood. There's no way they're doing this social distancing stuff. And they weren't having the problems. So what's going on? Don't buy into the fear. Take off your freaking mask. If you are older and you're sick and you're weak, maybe you want to quarantine yourself if you get sick. But we need to boost our immune system. That is where the whole focus needs to be. Not spending all this time and money trying to come up with some stupid ass vaccine that's going to have a tremendous amount of side effects. It's really dumb. We should just be vitamin A, vitamin D, get outside. I mean, why? Why? Because there's no money.
There's no
this
money.
stuff.
That's it.
That's
That's
what it
it.
comes
Healthy
down to.
people don't make them rich.
Yep.
It's not in their best interest.
Ugh.
And it also doesn't usher in a new world order.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, no doubt. So, Scott, you asked me about the offer.
Yes.
So here's what I'd recommend people do. If you're interested, you want to get our products or try them out, just go to chemicalfreebody.com. That's chemicalfreebody.com. Go to the products tab and scroll down to the savings bundles. You can get a discount by buying a savings bundle. Start off with the Jumpstart bundle or do what I do. I do the Total Energy and Detox bundle. That's what I do. I also take our Alpha Energy product because it boosts testosterone and it's awesome. But pick whatever resonates with you. And then when you go to checkout, type in the code TRUTH and you'll get an extra 5% on top of it. So you'll get like, it's like a double discount. Now, our products have a double your money back guarantee. That's how confident I am that they'll work. And if they don't, just let us know. We'll refund your money and call us. We will find a replacement. It might be another company. I have other companies that I know, like, and trust, and we can move things around, shuffle them. Our job here is to help you get well. And so that's what we're all about. So again, that's what I'd recommend. And for free advice, they can check out the Health Hero Show. And if they want to join the group coaching, that's a nice way to come in and have a coach for not a whole lot. And if you want a private coaching session, you can always schedule a free 30-minute consult on the coaching tab on the website.
Awesome, man. So is that the best place to find you? Do you have any social media you want to shout out or anything?
I mean, yeah, that's probably
Yeah.
the best places on the
Perfect.
website. I'm hiring somebody to help me with social media. I'm on Facebook just under Tim James. Like I think it's 9216 or something like
Cool.
that. There's a bunch of Tim Jameses
I can
on
imagine.
social media, but we have Chemical Free Body
Yeah.
on social media,
Okay,
but
cool.
we're not really doing a whole lot.
Totally.
So all that stuff we'll be doing more social media, but we're probably going to be doing a lot of different social media companies.
definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
totally.
Because everybody's migrating off of the fake book and
Yeah.
Yep.
We all have like
Yep.
16 accounts right now.
Yeah.
We're waiting to
We're,
see what
we're all
settles.
migrating. Yeah, we've started.
Well, I think this is cool,
yeah,
guys. This is our
Scum
first,
Tube or whatever it's called.
yeah,
I
yeah.
can't remember.
This is our first promo code, you guys. How sweet.
Yeah.
It's so nice. So, like, we're getting.
Yeah.
we're building
Oh, well,
it now.
congratulations.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
the
yeah,
first
man.
promo code.
Awesome.
Truth.
Yeah,
Yeah,
guys.
love it.
Awesome.
Truth at checkout for 5%.
There you go. That's so cool.
Yes.
That's so cool.
Love it, man.
Man, Tim, thank you so much, man.
Yeah,
This was
thank
so
you.
informative. We're going to take this information, we're going to run with it, and we hope that people listening do the same, man. This is great.
If no one else does, the three of us
I think
will,
we're
for
doing
sure.
it. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, I'm throwing the gauntlet in your guys' corner. So your listeners, listen to these guys. These guys are going to do it first. They're going to start detoxing. I
Yep.
think you guys should do a challenge. Maybe all three of you
Love
start
it.
challenges.
Love it.
What
Yeah.
would be the conditions or parameters of this challenge? I don't even know. What would you say?
Probably I would say do those core 4 secrets.
Okay.
Get on some of my products, try them out,
Yep.
and then you guys can have me back on in 30, 60, 90 days or whatever, and we can do a recap.
Ooh,
Cool. There you
I
go.
love
Awesome.
that.
Awesome.
Okay. Well,
All
what's
right.
Yeah,
the,
and
it's
if you guys
the
want, I do a
19th
free
of
coaching call
November.
with each one of you individually if you want.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well,
Okay.
thanks
Thank
a
you,
lot,
Tim.
Thank you so very much,
Thank
Tim.
you.
We
All
so
right, guys.
appreciate
Thanks
this
for having me on.
information. So awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
Appreciate it. Have a good night, guys.
You as well.
too.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Holy
Yeah.
shit, dude!
So-
He's so fucking like. Wait, that was his episode.
Everything that he was saying about like the drinking half your body weight in ounces, that when I was doing the vegan
Yeah.
thing, the only supplement I took a daily vitamin, but the only other thing I took was vitamin B12 because I knew that the ground has been leached, right? Even
Yeah, I
the food
didn't
that
even think
grows.
of that. I didn't
And
even
I was
think of
just
that.
saying recently, I don't know if I was saying to one of you or maybe you, I know I was saying it at the house, but about how like you can cut lettuce and put it on your counter and it just grows like in 24, 48 hours. And so you can keep having like fresh kale, like how he's talking about not to buy it.
with the
Think of all the
sprouts?
times we buy that plasticky bag salad and we
Yeah,
put
yeah,
shit
yeah.
in, right? But
Yeah.
but I think we could do that. And sprouts, that was something that the person I was seeing a couple years ago did. We were growing sprouts in jars, and they have like the little like
start
you know the
growing some
lids that have
sprouts,
the little
dude.
like metal grates on the top,
Yeah.
and you can get all different kind of sprouts. Like mung beans, I think was one that we did. So
yeah.
and you just do it in your kitchen.
You guys,
We're
I
growing
am
sprouts.
so into this. I do think I'm still seeing like Idaho compound, Truth compound.
That's
Yeah.
where I'm
All
going.
of us,
Yeah.
we
Yes.
we have a farm set up essentially.
That's what I'm saying, too,
Like,
yeah.
we just half of our food, but most of our food comes from it. You know?
Yep, agreed.
Like I want to be healthy like that so much. I have this gut stuff. I've
Yep,
talked about
me
it for a
too,
while.
man.
I just need to get fired up, and then it's going to be harder is getting the kids on that.
Yeah.
Getting the kids, just like you just talked
Yep,
about.
it
like,
is.
Yeah, and
But there's so many different good like ways of doing like the plant-based stuff and the raw food diet, and I did it for so long now. And it's
Sure.
just that I kind of again. But you have younger kids. When I started, my kids were like preteen teenagers, you know,
Sure.
so they were really giving me the pushback. You can like start training your little ones to like make
Sure.
those slow transitions. You transition and then incorporate what you're
Sure.
doing with them, and then
that's-
start to
I need-
exclude
I
their
need
stuff.
to start here. I
Yeah,
need to start here.
totally.
But I mean, we got an apocalypse approaching here.
That we have to be prepared to
we
fight
have
in.
We have to fight. So
Hill
we
sprint.
have to take this shit seriously.
Hill
Totally.
sprints and
Well, a
health,
couple
dude.
of those documentaries I've talked about watching, like as a Truthzilla, like the Food Inc.,
Truthzilla movie night.
Dominion, and Forks Over Knives. They talk about a lot of this stuff. Like I was telling him, David Avocado Wolf, and all of those.
Yep.
So it's further, food for this journey that we want to take
Yep.
along these lines. Like everything he was saying was everything I ever learned, 10 years ago about all this,
Yeah.
and then just kind of like eked away over time. Because again, when you're doing it by yourself, or life gets in the way. But this is kind of a whole new focal point anyway.
Yeah,
And we're
so
still
speaking of
filming,
that, that reminded me, so speaking of Dominion, so we have now, folks, everybody, we have truthzilla.org.
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 We're still recording.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
still going. Dude, it's growing. Okay, it's growing. It's expanding. adding to it every day. I'm adding the videos to BitChute right now, so there will always be a Truthzilla no matter what, right? Even when YouTube takes us down. And then I'm going to upload those to the website, so there'll always be a record of our video. Will always exist somewhere, right?
Sure. Yep.
So anyway, but for now, if you guys want to check it out, dude, there is a little tab that says our favorite documentaries.
Yes.
And so we've actually found on BitChute our favorite documentaries, and we're going to obviously upload a bunch more, but we've got the Imperium Part 1 and Part 2.
Everybody needs to see
impossible to
Imperium.
find.
Yep.
I
so
think if
glad
you're
that's
on a computer, if you double click the video, it'll come in picture in picture, and then you can go full screen from there. So it's a little user friendly. If you're on your phone, you kind of have to like zoom in on the browser to get it to go full screen, but it's there, right? And we've got the JFK to 9/11, Everything's a Rich Man's Trick from Francis Richard Connolly from a few weeks ago. We got the Plandemic series. We got James Corbett's Bill Gates series, but also we have links to how to support and go and support each one of those content producers. You know what I mean? So it's not like we're just scamming their stuff. So even though they put it out there open source, like there's links to go support each one of these folks, and we really want to encourage you to do that. So we've got a blog section that's going to start coming alive here soon. We've got all kinds of good stuff. So.
I've been working on it. It's like 4 days of tearing.
No,
something
I
down.
got stuff I want to put up there, dude. Like it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be fun. So
The snowballs at the top.
So if we disappear into thin air, and you're like, wow, I haven't heard from those Truthzilla guys in a while, truthzilla.org. We got the RSS feed up there, so.
Truthzilla.org.
Truthzilla.org. Yes. So it's kind of exciting. Anyway, guys,
Very, very
Dude,
cool.
I'm riding high. That was man, what an
Empowering.
intelligent and empowering.
Yeah.
And I think this is the stuff I've been so curious and interested in, but I can't always put it into words.
You don't know where to begin. You don't know how to
Where do I start? And then I need some accountability there.
Yeah.
And that's why the three of us we're gonna do this.
Yeah.
Right? We're doing this. We're doing it, and we're gonna.
I'm interested in the thing in Portland. Maybe.
No, I'm signing up. I'm gonna call her tomorrow.
Okay, I need to get the information from you. But
we need to start doing burpees in the living room too.
Okay.
All right, burpees in the living room. All right, everybody. Well, that was Tim James, the health hero. Please find him, get involved in this, and check back with us. We're going to definitely try to do this.
We're going to do the deal.
Yeah. So anyways.
We'll show our pictures from the side and from the front. Right?
They're going to show their pictures from the side and from the front.
Years.
So anyways, everybody, I am Megan sitting here with Scott and Ed, and we wish all of you intellectual prosperity. Good night.
Pew 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 pew.